where you all, we were going to humiliate you originally by making you talk, but we figured you guys were too crafty for us and would probably find a way to get out of it. And I know Rotary has a lot of like lawyers in it and stuff. My dad's a lawyer and I don't even want to argue with him about what we're having for breakfast. So we're just going to have our students demonstrate kind of a very basic, don't take this as the be-all end-all, this is a very basic simulation. So we're going to start out,
well, we each have one country here.
Yes.
So I'm Syria.
This table is Israel.
Now, the way we got around you guys not participating is we have each of our delegates sitting here, and they're going to interact with you in our little mock caucus at the end of this little simulation, so you guys can kind of get some input in. So I guess we'll start, and I will read off the one-line resolution we've prepared for this conference. Now, obviously, the resolutions are going to be much longer in row committee, but we just wrote one line for simplicity. So this is going to be: declares the formation of an independent Palestinian state to be composed from Israeli territory. Now that's super vague, but and they're not going to be this vague at the row conference, but this is enough that we can kind of get on and talk about it. So our first speaker on the speakers list. We'll pretend the delegates all raised their placards and we picked them before. It's going to be Syria, the sponsor of the resolution. So Syria, would you like to come up and make a speech?
Yes.
Can you let us talk to our people?
Yeah, you can.
Well, the first thing I was going to say before we get too into this, before we get started, we have a couple things we want to focus on here. One, like how it's ordered and everything, and two, what the rules are. So, I mean, don't get too caught up with the rules, though we're trying to avoid rule issues, but you do need to know them. So, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to like interrupt us.
So who sponsored the resolution?
The resolution is sponsored by Syria. So, well, do you want to present first, or do you want to caucus?
I'll present.
Okay, so we'll have our speaker approach the dais to make a speech.
That is the dais, for those who didn't.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Syria believes that the Palestinians are the rightful owners of the land because it was taken from them in the first place. Israel took the land from the Palestinians and it is rightfully theirs to own. Israel will see fewer violent attacks if Palestine is free because there will be less arguments over the land ownership. Every nation has a right to self-determination. How come Palestine doesn't get this? Israel had it following World War II. Palestine deserves it now. We will support our allies. Syria supports the Palestinians in their move for independence and their move for their rightful territory. And the Palestinians are much weaker than the Israelis, so they do not present a threat as a free nation. The Israelis have nuclear weapons, but the Palestinians obviously do not. They are much weaker, and having them as a free nation will not bother anything, it will not form any problems, and it will not present any threat. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to continue my speech. That's like the good part. Global warming is also really bad, and global warming is...
All right, well, delegate, we're going to have to stop you there. Sometimes delegates like to do this like bait and switch kind of thing, where they talk about random things, or they get nervous and they go off on tangents. So we'll remind them that they need to stay focused. Also, quickly, this is a gavel. We use these to kind of adjudicate the conferences. For the delegates, their speaking time, we're going to tap this lightly when they're about 10 seconds from the end of the speech, and then we'll hit it when they're done. With their prepared speeches, they should be within the time frame, so that shouldn't be a problem. But later, it's to kind of keep them in line. So.
Okay, and the point I started about global warming was that's a point of order. Just to ask why. So, you can call them.
Oh, United States.
Point of order: the delegate from Syria began speaking about global warming, and we are currently referring to Israel and Palestine.
Right. Well, we'll have to remind the delegate then that you should stay focused on the topic at hand. Thank you for your speech, delegate.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
All right. After a speech, we ask for points or motions on the floor. So, China.
The Republic of China would like to make a comment.
Absolutely. Are there any other points or motions on the floor? Seeing none, China, you have the floor for a short comment.
The People's Republic of China would like to commend Syria on an excellent speech, and would like to mention that the creation of a Palestinian state would create much turmoil, as has been demonstrated by past history in the region. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to our next speaker, Israel.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The State of Israel strongly opposes this idea. The State of Israel fought for their independence over 40 years ago, and objects to this proposal as it is a violation of their independence. The Palestinians do not deserve their own independent nation as they are a rogue and terrorist nation. Violence would increase by terrorist factions. I have a few questions to propose to Syria. What will happen to the displaced Israelis in the area? Will this be a repeat situation after the Gaza Strip exodus in 2005? How will this affect the security of the State of Israel? And what will be the aftermath? This proposal would be disastrous and would result in chaos, hostility, and instability in the region. The State of Israel hopes that other nations agree. Thank you.
All right, now just a comment here real quick that's not procedural. Sam is actually way over-prepared, so we're actually way smarter than her when we're prepared too. You should just embarrass us all right then. Are there any points of motions on the floor? Yes, Syria.
Point of personal privilege, may I use the restroom?
Yes, delegate, you may.
Okay, I'm not actually going to use the restroom.
It's kind of a bad time to propose that. But are there any other points of motion?
Actually, I think we should mention that delegates don't have to ask to use the bathroom. They shouldn't.
They don't have to.
Okay, but I just...
Prefer they don't.
So, yeah, he went. Are there any other points of motion on the floor? United States.
The United States would like to make a comment on the speech.
Absolutely. Are there any other points of motion on the floor? China.
The Republic of China would like to make a comment on the speech.
At this time, we're only entertaining one comment, delegate, so we will allow the United States to make a comment. Thank you for your interest, however.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, delegates. Israel, thank you for your very helpful speech, and you have pointed to some very important reasons that a new Palestinian state cannot be formed in Israeli territory. Not only is it illegal, but the government of Palestine is a terrorist organization, and we are confident in the fact that a future with a Palestinian state running as such will only lead to more terrorism. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Are there any other points of motions on the floor at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to our next speaker, China.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The Republic of China would like to... The Republic of China has noticed that many of the delegates are mentioning the peace and security issues, but China would like to emphasize the economic ramifications that the creation of a new Palestinian state would create. China welcomes formation of new trading partners. However, economic prosperity would be hampered by violence in the region if this resolution were to pass. A compromise must be reached, however. Both Israeli and Palestinians have rights to the land. And, however, such action shouldn't be taken quickly and without agreement. Thank you.
Just a quick note for applause. I know you're all really happy. At our conference, we actually discourage them, right, from applauding and clapping when people come down. It's kind of bothersome. So we'll tell your delegates not to go crazy or whatever. It's nice to congratulate them though. So moving on, are there any other points or motions on the floor? Syria.
Point of parliamentary procedure. I'd like to motion to move the comment time from 10 seconds to 5 seconds.
Whoa.
That is in order. We will take that into consideration. Are there any other points or motions on the floor? Yes, China.
Motion to change the comment time from 10 seconds to 5.5 seconds.
Delegate, since we have such a similar request already, we're going to rule that dilatory. Dilatory is a really cool word that you're going to hear from us a lot. It's the word we use when we say, no, you're wrong, you can't do that. It's a nice way of saying, stop that.
And also, encourage your delegates not to do things like change your comment time from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. We're doing that for, teaching the rule here, but we did that so much last year, changing speech time from 1 minute to a minute and a half to 2 minutes to half a minute and stuff like that. We spent so much time doing that we didn't actually get to talk about anything.
And they shouldn't propose the same thing over and over again. If there's a 10-minute caucus and a 5-minute caucus on the board, don't have someone propose a 7.5-minute caucus so it's like a compromise solution, or like a 12.3